Economics competition skills training, basis for election to government. At the beginning of our software system simulation operation, each group will participate in the government campaign and fill in the campaign objectives. The one with the highest score is elected to the government. So what is the basis for the government to be elected? This PowerPoint presentation will give you a detailed introduction to the basis of government election. We will explain in 3 modules. 1. What indicators are involved in running for government? 2. Scoring rules. 3. Threshold calculation rules. First, let's understand what indicators are involved in running for government. There are 4 indicators involved in running for government: GDP growth rate, CPI increase, unemployment rate, and gross personal income growth rate. This picture is the interface of the system to fill in the indicators for running for government. There are also rules for running for government. 1. CPI cannot exceed 5%. 2. Unemployment rate cannot exceed 8%. 3. GDP growth cannot be less than 5%. 4. Total personal income growth must not be less than 7%. 5. When each group runs for government, they can set higher targets, and the more the targets are better than the above minimum standards, the better the government is elected. Let's explain the rules of government campaign scoring. There are 4 campaign indicators, each with different scoring rules. CPI cannot increase by more than 5%. If the target is X%, the score is 5 minus X. GDP increase is a minimum of 5%. Now, if the target is Y%, counting Y minus 5 points, unemployment rate cannot exceed 8%. Now, if the target is a %, counting 8 minus A points, a minimum growth rate of 7% in total personal income, counting B minus 7 points if the target is B%, then the total score is 5 minus X plus Y minus 5 plus 8 minus A plus B minus 7 is equal to 1 minus X plus Y minus A plus B points. Below we will give an example of how to calculate the campaign score. This picture shows the results of a Class 7th year government campaign. Let's take Home Appliance 1 and Steel 2, which was elected to government, as an example. Based on what we learned earlier about how campaign scores are calculated, then, according to the picture, we can get the campaign scores of both companies. Home Appliance 1 campaign score is equal to 5 minus 2 plus 8 minus 5 plus 8 minus 4 plus 9 minus 7 is equal to 12. Steel 2 campaign score is equal to 5 minus 2 plus 12 minus 5 plus 8 minus 3 plus 11 minus 7 is equal to 19. 19 is more than 12, according to the rules. The high score elected government. Then, it should be Home Steel 2 elected government. Why Home Appliance 1 elected government? That is because there is a campaign indicator threshold. Threshold calculation rules. Each indicator system has set a system threshold to prevent some manufacturers from pursuing high indicators in order to be elected to the government. Indicators that exceed the threshold are invalid, and the corresponding indicator scores 0 points. Average price increase CPI, if the median of each group of data is positive. The critical value is minus 1.5%. Otherwise, 1.3 times the difference between the median and the benchmark value, 5%, is taken. Real GDP increase, 1.3 times the median of the forecast values for each group. Unemployment rate, the average of 0 and 1.3 times the difference between the median and the benchmark value, 8%, for each data set plus the benchmark value. Growth rate of total personal income, 1.3 times the median of each data set. Next we give an example of calculating the critical values for the 4 indicators. This image shows the data of the target CPI increase for each group with a median of 2. According to the rule, 2 is more than 0, the critical value of CPI is minus 1.5. This image shows the data of the target GDP increase for each group with a median of 9. According to the rule, the critical value is 1.3 times the median of the forecast value for each group, which is 1.3 times 9 is equal to 11.7. The critical value of the GDP increase is 11.7. This image shows the data for each group of target unemployment rate with a median of 3. According to the rule, the critical value is the average of 0 and 1.3 times the difference between the median of each group of data and the benchmark value, 8%, plus the benchmark value, which is 0 plus 3 minus 8 times 1.3 plus 8 divided by 2 is approximately equal to 0.75. The critical value for the unemployment rate is 0.75. This image shows the data of the growth rate of total personal income for each group with a median of 8. According to the rule, the critical value is 1.3 times of the median of each group. The critical value for the unemployment rate is 10.4. Based on the bidding results, it can be seen that the GDP increase targeted by skill12 is 12%, but the calculated critical value of GDP increase is 11.7%. Therefore, the GDP increase target for skill12 is invalid and the target is not scored, and the personal income growth rate is invalid similarly. Then the campaign score for skill12 is equal to 5 minus 2 plus 0 plus 8 minus 3 plus 0 is equal to 8. All the indicators of home appliance 1 are within the critical value and are valid indicators. 5 minus 2 plus 8 minus 5 plus 8 minus 4 plus 9 minus 7 is equal to 12. So home appliance 1 is elected to government.